In the news, aggrieved policemen attempt to disrupt Anambra coalition over feeding allowance. Also the news details. Aggrieved policemen staged a protest at the coalition center of the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) in Āñgry local government area of Anambra State on Saturday. The officers deployed for the election had lamented over the non-payment of their feeding allowance. The aggrieved policemen said to the operatives of the Ondo Police Command are currently on election duty in Anambra State. They had lamented that their 5,000 naira allowance was not released. According to an electoral observer, one of the aggrieved officers disconnected the generator meant to power the coalition center, an action that could have disrupted the exercise, but the generator was later returned to its position. Earlier on Saturday, a policeman on election duty had complained of hunger, saying there was no provision for feeding. When a team of journalists, including our correspondents, met with Frank Umba, first spokesman, a few hours ago, he said the Inspector General of Police had ordered a compilation of the list of officers who are yet to be paid. According to Umba, the Inspector General of Police blamed the situation on clerical mistake. He said, while more than 30,000 officers were deployed for the election, more than 29,000 of them had been paid. The officers, the policemen, were aggrieved and they wanted to disrupt the Anambra coalition over their feeding allowance. They are supposed to pay them feeding allowance of 5,000 naira, but they complained that they have not been paid, and they were lamenting, and also over the non-payment of their feeding allowance. They said that they have not been paid, and one of the aggrieved officers disconnected the generator meant to provide power to the coalition center. If not that they pleaded with him to release the generator, it would have disrupted the exercise. And the policeman on duty said that he is hungry. He has been complaining of hunger, that there was no provision for feeding. Why did they now deploy those policemen when they knew they are not going to pay them their provision allowance? Their provision allowance is just 5,000. Will they say they do not have 5,000 to pay those people? Now, if a policeman can do this, what about citizens that are hungry? Policeman is aggrieved. Policeman that is being paid just 5,000 naira, and they could not pay it. Now the IGP is saying that more than 30,000 officers were deployed and they paid more than 29,000. The remaining people that were not paid, what happened? No provision of food. Policeman complains of hunger. A policeman attached to Polling Unit 8, Abagana Ward 2, Ijikoka, local government areas of Anambra State, had lamented over lack of provision. Over 30,000 police officers were deployed for the election, which is holding across 21 local government areas of the state. The officer, names withheld, assisted electoral officials during accreditation and voting process. Meanwhile, there is a large turnout of voters at the Āñgry ward of Agwata local government area, where the leading candidates are from. Professor Shukuma Soludo of the All Progressives Grand Alliance, ABGA, Senator Andy Uba of All Progressives Congress, and Mr. Valentine Obizo of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, are all from Agota local government are the key candidates. In all, there are 18 governorship candidates in the election. The election, which held in Anambra State, November 6, the policemen were complaining, although there was massive turnout, but the policemen that are supposed to guard, to secure the lives of the people, were aggrieved. Why? Because they were not paid of their food allowance. There was no food. They were hungry. And you know that there's a saying that says, a hungry man is an hungry man. So if the policemen did not eat, they will be angry at the citizens that want to vote. Now the IGP is saying they paid 29,000. The women officers, they were not paid. What happened? We don't say there is no money to pay them. We don't say there is no food to give them. There was massive turnout. But again, the electronics were malfunctioning. And in some local governments, the electronics were not malfunctioning. But in some local governments, there was malfunctioning of the electronics. Like Solodo, it could not vote immediately he got there. And when he got there, the people that were there were unable to vote also. Why is that happening on the day of the election? Why the people, the INEC, should have paid these police officers even before the election day, since they have been deployed to Anambra State for the election, instead of making them come hungry and passing aggression and making all sorts of things. Now, look at the case of the policeman that went to turn off the generator that will power the coalition center. Is that supposed to be so in this country that we have? The people, the policeman, should have known that something happened. But although it is in the fault of the INEC officials not paying the policeman, this should not have happened on the day of election. The Anambra election that took place November 6, 2021, there was massive turnout and the candidates were happy that those people could come out to vote for the candidates of their choice. Thank you for tuning in. Please feel free to share your view on this.